and just snap, but we'll enjoy it inside the hotel sitting down.
We got 3 hours of sleep. We were dying. I was sleeping myself.
It's not $22 a week. And the average woman, $732. And they tell us not to complain? I've only scratched the dangerous policies that we're going to face. But let me tell you about what's happening in your state, what's happening in Harrisburg as well. The majority party's agenda will be just as harmful as what's happening in Washington. I expect to see legislation when I go back on Monday with my colleagues, restricting a woman's right to legal abortion, restricting your right to vote. And forget about minimum wage increasing. They're going to make sure that doesn't happen too. But at the same time, we can't pass legislation to defend the members of our LGBTQ community and ensure that they have housing and job protection. We can't get that done. But what can we do when they have an agenda that works against us? Legislators are sending us a clear message. They want to make our lives miserable. Well then, we have to do the same. We can't rely on someone else to preserve and protect our rights, to make the changes that we need for the future. I applaud you for coming here today. You are an awesome sight. And I know you wouldn't be here if you weren't serious about defending our rights. But that's not enough, not even close. Here's what I think you need to do. Contact us. Contact your senators and representatives. Tell them your story. Attaching your name to a form letter is no longer enough. Call them and tell your friends to do the same. Ask to speak to the member or a member of their staff. Be polite, be sincere, and don't take no for an answer. Don't stop. Believe me, I ought to know this works. We all have our reasons for being here today, the issues that concern us the most, and we share a lot of them. Can I tell you one of mine? My amazing daughter just went back to work after 4 weeks off for having my granddaughter. And she spent that whole time not only caring for her first baby, but trying to find quality health care the whole time, and still hasn't really gotten it together. Here's what concerns me. When I was a single mom almost 40 years ago, I faced the same thing. When are we going to do something about making sure we care for our children, that we have affordable child care and early childhood education? I gotta confess, this is the first time I've ever participated in an event like this. You too? But I know it's now or never. But I've chosen now. Are we going to take action, or are we going to try to pretend that in 4 years we'll all wake up from this bad dream? Here's what, my fellow marchers. Hold your head up, straighten your shoulders, suck it up, and start moving. That's the proverbial first step. This is the time. It's up to us and no one else. I fought this battle before. I'm done with that. Are we going to let them take us back? No. Are we going to let them take us back? No. I think you're ready. Let's make that change happen. Thank you so much.
You look so amazing from up here. I wish you all had this view. was standing back there and realized you look so amazing that I have to take your picture so it'll get me through the challenges we have in the coming days. So I want you to all to scooch in and smile really big, okay? All right, you guys are awesome. We can never forget, look around you right now, because we can never forget how many of us there are. Here in Philly, in DC, where my daughter's marching right now, around the country and around the world, we are many and we are mighty. And Jersey, yes, definitely. It is my privilege to represent passionate colleagues at Access Matters and our network of dedicated healthcare professionals who put their hearts and sometimes their very lives on the line to deliver high-quality, compassionate, patient-centered care, sexual and reproductive health care. A shout out to all of you who are marching here today. Today and in the days ahead, we must ensure we're seeking and hearing and valuing the diverse voices that must be a part of the dialogue to come on reproductive rights and reproductive justice in our country. I am honored to be with all of you today, my fellow marchers, my fellow nasty women. And the countless righteous allies, including my awesome son Oscar in the front row, who join us to preserve, protect, and yes, expand our fundamental rights to health care, to pay equity, to a life free from violence and harassment, to a society that treats all of its citizens with dignity and respect. Appreciating the undeniable intersectionality of all these factors, our focus at Access Matters is on ensuring access to life-saving, life-changing sexual and reproductive health care and information and services for all. Things like screening for cervical and breast cancer, ensuring women can choose the birth control method that will help them achieve their life goals. Yeah. Empowering consumers with information and tools to help prevent the transmission of HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases. Ensuring adolescents can receive accurate, non-judgmental answers to their questions in a confidential setting. And linking people to effective and compassionate counseling and care. As our name underscores, the common thread across all of our work is access. And access is exactly what the opposition wants to shut down. First, access to abortion, a safe and legal procedure that 1 in every 3 women in the U.S. has turned to for a variety of extraordinarily private reasons that no one, especially our most unrepresentative politicians, should stand in judgment of. Next, they want to shut down our access to birth control. Does this make sense if you want to see the abortion rate drop? Yet there is relentless opposition to the birth control coverage requirement of the Affordable Care Act, despite the fact that 99% of American adult women will use birth control at some point. The bottom line is this: no woman seeking to make the right decision for herself and her family about whether or when to become pregnant should ever have to choose between paying her heat, her groceries, or her birth control. Okay, so many in our government want to stamp out access to abortion, and they want to stamp out access to birth control. Then they must be committed to ensuring access to a broad safety net for low-income mothers and babies, right? Yeah, we all know better. Our nation takes a punitive stance toward being poor. It takes a punitive stance toward sexuality, in particular women's sexuality, and the sexuality especially of women of color and of women who are poor, and any sexuality expressed outside the context of married heterosexual sex engaged in for the purpose of procreating. Wake up, Harrisburg and Washington! This is simply not how the vast majority of us experience our sexuality. This is not how we live our lives. This is not our truth. Okay, fellow marchers, you've been standing a long time, so let's get that blood flowing with some call and response. I'm going to say what we're fighting for and ask you why, and you're going to say, because access matters, okay? Here we go. We must fight to save the ACA and its contraceptive requirement that have provided 55 million women with no-cost birth control and other preventive health services. Why? Because access matters. We must stop the vendetta against our partner, Planned Parenthood, that threatens to take away access to care for millions of people and threatens to take down the entire Title X family planning program with it. Why? Because access matters. To paraphrase the late, great George Michael, sex is natural. Sex, when safe and consensual, is good. Not everybody respects our right to privacy and autonomy, but everybody should. Our sexuality is core to our humanity. Repressive policies around it do not work. They only elevate stigma and shame, making people feel less than, causing them to avoid seeking life-saving care and information they need, denying them the ability to live their lives fully, openly, honestly, and in good health. For this, we cannot and will not stand. And so today, I march for my colleagues in the ever-embattled field of sexual and reproductive health, and in honor and memory of our health champion, Athena Ford, who I know is with us in spirit. I march for a more equitable society for my children and all children. I march for unfettered access to sexual and reproductive rights and justice, information and care for all. Why? Because access matters. Stay vigilant, stay engaged, write letters, make calls, and connect with Access Matters and the Pennsylvania Campaign for Women's Health on Facebook so we can fight back together. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Who runs the world? 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 Look to your right. See that orange building right there, the funny looking building? That was the very first building in America designed by a woman architect. Her name was Elizabeth Fleischer. Who runs the world? Who runs the world? World War II, the 5 Sullivan brothers, mothers got together and said, never again shall every single son from a family go to war and not leave the name carried on. Women changed that. So who runs the world? Who runs the world? Mothers Against Drunk Driving got sick and tired of car accidents and people dying. And thanks to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, you got seat belts, you got driver's side airbags, you got airbags. So who runs the world? Who runs the world? When women get fed up, things get done. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my plum-pleasing pleasure to introduce to you, from West Philadelphia, born and raised, give it up for D-Bag.
How you doing, Philadelphia? Are you ready? Me and Earth Day Kids have a little show for you today.
They have to.